Hello and welcome. I'm Dave Guskin, executive producer of Legends of Runeterra, and we're here today to talk a bit about Legends of Runeterra's future and the impact of the recent changes at Riot. With me here today, I have a few familiar faces. There's Andre Van Roon, the head of League Studios.
Hey, folks.
Mark Merrill, our chief product officer and co-founder of Riot. And then Eric Shen, who's our current product lead and will soon be our new executive producer of Legends of Runeterra.
You know when the co-founder of Riot is sitting down to talk about lore, things are not looking good, bro. The moment I saw this yesterday, I'm like, yeah, all right, I see.
I don't have my baton on me, unfortunately. I can't hand it off.
We'll get it later.
Yeah, we'll get it later.
Hiya, folks.
Let's start with how we got here. Mark, if you want to talk a little bit about kind of the history of lore.
Sure. So, we first started working on what ultimately became Legends of Runeterra back in 2011. A lot of us, were huge fans of, CCGs. Part of the sort of the thesis and opportunity that really excited us as players was the fact that, in a lot of CCGs, one of the things we all loved to do was build decks. And so we wanted to have a business model that was incredibly generous to players, that enabled people to have a lot of cards to then get into that fun experimentation and not feel like I've got to go spend hundreds of dollars in order to go get the cards, even build the decks and figure out.
Let people try it.
Yeah,
true.
Exactly. Like Shadow Isles deck should feel very different than Demacia and all of the combinations that we thought were really fun. And what's great is we delivered that, but we sort of, never really get the formula right. We were always spending a lot more money investing in the game and supporting the community than the game was bringing in, and so essentially being subsidized by our other products. So we tried a lot of things over the last couple of years to figure out how to grow the audience and what would resonate with players. And so we sort of reached a point where we had to make some changes to try to get to a place of sustainability, because players have been so committed to this game, and we know so many people love the game, that we want to keep finding a way to deliver this awesome game that people love.
Yeah, I think the commitment and the love from the player base is one of the reasons we've got a lot of faith in the future of the game and a lot of that desire to keep improving and innovating on it.
There's a lot of problems, and they're bringing up the monetization issue, and that is that number one problem. Like I've talked about other problems before, such as it's too easy to get full collections. There's no chase aspect once you have a full collection. There's an overabundance of shards, but the bigger issue is it is a massive red hole in terms of profit. They're not making money. According to them, they never even made money ever. Like they didn't even make money on the first few weeks. Like they were always in the red. So unfortunately, there is some really big design flaw.
Yeah, we've had players come along
and I don't know if they can fix it.
The journey with us a lot here. We've done a lot of changes with PvP. We've tried doing Lab of Legends, which then became the Path of Champions. And what we've seen is that we've spent a lot of time on making the PvP side of the game much better, and players are actually spending a lot of their time in PvE. So it's kind of like, hey, it's probably appropriate for us to shift the focus a little bit, maybe line it up a little bit better.
All right, but hear me out though. I'm just curious how true this is for you guys down here. How many of you log in daily to play Path of Champions just because you have your quests you got to do to unlock more shards and champions? I'm just curious. Are there people in my chat who literally do that because of that? A lot of people do. And you know why? Because, well, I want to get 2-star set. I want a 3-star my Diana, right? Like people want to get their stuff, and that's how they get it. By doing those quests, by grinding out the POC, right? That doesn't exist in PvP. How many people in chat get the feeling of, I could play rank, but what for? I'll do it some other time. And then they never end up doing it. Like, what's the point? Like, I could play a rank game, but why? I'm Diamond 4-0 LP. I'm not going to play 60 games to get to Masters. So what's the point of even playing one game? Why would I play one game? And they just end up not playing the game. But I do have a few POC quests I can do, and those quests reward me for my time. So, yeah. I think one of the biggest reasons POC is successful is it has a continuous reason to play every day, with actual progress you can see day to day. It's that feel-good mechanic of unlocking stuff.
where we're spending more of our time on PvE because that's where the players are.
Yeah, I mean,
Another question, how many of you played Hearthstone and you did your 3 daily wins in order to unlock the 100 measly gold that can get you towards your little deck, like your little booster? I know I did. I know I had to grind those 100 gold because if I didn't, I was never getting my priest deck anywhere. I know I had to do my daily wins. I had to do it. It had to be done. But guess what? That got me playing 3 games a day.
like you mentioned, Lab of Legends, when that mode first came out, it shot up in popularity. It like spiked over even like standard ranked at that time. And that's why we've been building on that mode for so long, developing ultimately into the Path of Champions. And it continues to be our most popular mode, where both the actives and the hours, really, players are playing more games in that mode than even in standard ranked.
So like our big content and systems focus is going to be on Path of Champions, correct?
Right, yeah. We know we have an excellent card game, and we don't want to lose that. But we're going to be shifting more of our attention, more of our time toward improving the Path of Champions mode.
Ultimately, what we're doing is we're taking the resources we have and we're applying them to where the players really are.
This upcoming set that's releasing soon is going to be our last set as players currently know them. That doesn't mean we're not.
I think it's important to listen carefully to what he says. It's going to be the last set as players currently know them. I think everyone's ignoring that second part. And I'm not trying to be like giga optimistic here. I'm just trying to say that it's not the last set. It means, okay, so I'm going to continue the video and I'm going to loop back to this.
We're not going to be releasing more champions, but it does mean that we're going to be changing the focus to be more on those champions in the Path of Champions. You two have given LoR a ton of support over the years, and I really appreciate that. You know, I think that's continued up to today and will continue in the future.
Very much so. I mean, I think we're doing this across Riot as a whole in terms of how we try and pull like our world building, our storytelling together, and looking for opportunities for the different games to support each other more. We want to get a lot more connection between LoR and League of Legends, Teamfight Tactics, and Wild Rift. Get some of that sharing of ideas back and forth.
Yeah, LoR obviously has a strength in the PvE section, but then of course TFT has the strategy stuff, and League of Legends has like the champions. Yeah, so that takes us to what I think is an exciting new future for LoR. Eric, you want to kind of talk us through what's happening with this new focus on the Path of Champions?
Yeah, absolutely. We've actually been working on stuff for a while. So one of the big things that are coming out really soon is our big expansion to the map of Runeterra with the LoR section. So right now,
I'm gonna destroy this. I'm gonna destroy this 5-star, by the way. When it comes out, I'm gonna one tap it. I'm just gonna go in, destroy, and go out. It's gonna be a 1-day stream. Because I'm not gonna do this with a 0-star champion like I did for Asol. I'm just gonna go in with Gwen 3-star and absolutely massacre Lissandra. It's not even gonna be fair.
So right now, players have been beating up on Asol for a while. They've been looking for something new. And Lissandra is going to be our new big bad. Not Tryndamere, sorry.
No, it's okay. Get her.
Get her out of here. Players are going to
Wow, she starts at 5 mana. That's pretty crazy.
try their best, but we're really excited to see what they think of it. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard, and that's intentionally so.
And how OP can I be?
You can be OP, because along with Failure, soon after that, we're going to do what we think is the full expansion to the mode itself. So we call it Constellations. It's a feature in which we take the star powers that players have now with up to 3 power, and it's going to go to 6. So we're going to
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait, what? How do you get this? Maybe these are like minor powers. 4, 5, and 6. I don't know.
20 champs coming out, 6 stars.
Okay.
Yes, get excited. Just a full step function level increase in power to match the difficult that they've put out there in the Failure adventure.
Awesome. We're not just doing 6-star existing champions though here, are we?
There will be brand new champs as well. So the ones that you take from 0-star all the way up to 6-star. So for those who love the grind, that's there for them too. Both some LoR originals, some champs that exist now. So the whole gamut's going to be represented. Every region's got a champ.
Want to share a few of the champions we're going to be adding?
Aatrox has been playing really well. That's been one that people have been really liking during the playtest sessions. There's a LoR original that we're testing out with Nora. So we think she's going to come to the Path of Champions and just delight players with what we have in store there. So some portal action.
Yeah, love me some portals. Let's go.
Just the 3-star, 6-star, just all of a sudden your board is filled. It's a lot of fun.
The true Nora experience.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And when Arcane comes out later this year. Anything we're thinking there?
I mean, you know, never say never, but definitely Lissandra might be quaking in her boots of what we have coming after that.
Well, and I think a lot of this exciting stuff that's still coming, you know, demonstrates also that, you know, we're of course still committed to Legends of Runeterra. So just wanted to take a moment to again say thank you to everybody that's been with us on this journey for Legends of Runeterra. Also, again, just want to say thank you, Dave, for all the hard work and effort over the many years. And you know, and also you're not totally going away.
That's true. Yeah, I'll still be around.
Yeah, Dave's going to go work a little bit in R&D on some other cool stuff we have in the pipe.
Yeah, and I also want to really say thank you
Chat, what is R&D? Research and development, right?
to all of our players. I think this has been an amazing experience being on LoR. It's been an amazing team. I have a lot of faith in Eric and him being able to kind of take it to the future. And you know, I think that we have a lot of support.
Absolutely. And there'll be a lot going on throughout the year. We're going to make sure we keep talking regularly with you folks, sometimes formal like this, sometimes more informal. If you want a few more details, we've also got an FAQ going out at the same time as this video that'll cover some more stuff. We're really excited to see what Eric and the team cook up this year.
Yeah, no pressure.
How are you feeling, Eric?
I'm excited, dude. We got a lot for players. We got a great roadmap, so I'm ready to hit the ground running, get to work.
Well, on that note, thank you all for being here with us. Got a lot of exciting stuff in the future, and you know, we're gonna go get to it. So thank you all. See you in game.
Yeah, thanks
Thanks all.
everyone.
All right. So let me say how it is. I'm not one to sugarcoat stuff. This video, to the average person who watches it, didn't even sound that bad. Okay. So we're gonna get more POC stuff. Nice. I like POC stuff. So yeah, well presented video, I would say overall. They very briefly talked about the negatives and hyped up POC. Cool. For the average person watching this, if people just watch this video, they probably put out some fires for those people. Now, of course, this is not what we're going to cover. There's not really much information in this video. I would say they did the job they set out to do with this. They were very honest. They didn't lie to us. They told us everything that was happening. But, you know, they framed it of, get excited, chat. We're getting 6 stars on champions. We're getting Lissandra. So, we move on from this to the real meat, the meaty stuff. Oh boy. All right, the real meaty Q&A. Oh boy, this is the one. LoR 2024 State of the Game FAQ. Is LoR dying? No, it's not dying. We're making some changes alongside the larger structure changes at Riot. The intent is to focus on a better path forward for the business, the core of which will be the Path of Champions moving forward, and keep this amazing game going with a smaller, more focused team while we do that. I mean, that's true. You shifted into PvE, then refocused on PvP, and now you're shifting to PvE again. How did that happen? All of the announcements were the honest truth at the time, but the reality is we were adjusting to the changing landscape of the gaming industry during each pivot. When we focused on PvE, our team was dead set and ambitious, and that this mode could be the future. Shortly after we aligned to this vision, we had to be honest with ourselves about the monetary situation of LoR and rescope the size of the team. At that time, we were very, very passionate that as a smaller team, we could go all out on PvP, which we tried to do by revamping our PvP systems with gauntlets and world circuit. Throughout all of this, we continued development of Path of Champions on a very small scale. Through even that minimal support of Path of Champions, we found that significant majority of LoR players were drawn into the mode. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised more people play PvE than PvP. Meanwhile, all our bets and investments on PvP unfortunately did not increase engagement in the PvP mode the way we had hoped. We again want to call out what the competitive parts of the community have done for this game. It's a tremendous achievement to have a game that has had multiple world championships. There is no doubt that the PvP community has a ton of passion and love for the game. However, we just can't get PvP to a state that is realistically sustainable. We would need many, many multiples of revenue above what we're making, which is simply unachievable. That's a harsh thing to say. They're not saying we need to get 50% more revenue. They're saying they need many, many multiples. So we're doing 5x, 6x, 8x. You don't get that kind of revenue increase by making small changes. We're not the only card game to have made major changes to the business approach over the years, and we believe this latest change is one that puts us on the path to growth again. Usually, when this is the case in business, if you're not willing to restart from zero and fundamentally restructure how the entire game works, you got to cut costs, right? It is what it is. That's usually what this means. What is the last set coming out? This upcoming set will be the last card set we release in the way players are familiar with. I want to highlight this. It doesn't mean it's the last set of cards they're releasing. It just means we're not going to get any more big set drops the way they've been happening recently or forever. After this, the team's going to take some time to figure out how things might look in the future, and we'll keep you posted. My best interpretation of this is the following. I think that there's a likelihood, I think they're likely saying, we're going to make content for POC, and we will see how we can fit that content into PvP. We don't know how it's going to work yet, but we'll try to figure out a way to make the work we do in POC applicable to PvP. So you don't have to do like 2 different jobs in the same time, right? So yeah, we're building a POC expansion. We're building this hype new thing in POC. How can we integrate that to the current card game? That's my assumption off of reading this. And they don't quite know exactly what they're going to do yet. What's happening with competitive? Will there be more tournaments? For now, competitive people will be put into hibernation. Oh boy. Oh boy. Hibernation doesn't sound good, chat. I think they could have chosen a better word, man. I think they could have chosen a better word than hibernation. This includes gauntlets, including the gauntlet reward track. Ranked season rewards, icons, prismatics, etc. Oh, that's bad, bro. Listen, that's really bad because I'm gonna be honest, this is not that hard to make. If it's out of their budget to make one of these, like, oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. If it's not within the PvP budget to make one of these Photoshop works, that's tough. That's a yikes for me. Tournaments such as the Runeterra Open system, I'm not surprised at all. Worlds and esports, holistically, I'm not surprised at all. However, okay, we got a however. We'll keep the casual, standard, eternal, and AI open indefinitely. Oh boy, that's not a however. I'm gonna be honest, chat. You take this how you will. If there is no ranked mode for lore, I will not play lore. I don't know if you guys know me well enough about this, but when I play games, I like to play ranked. And I like to play in the following way. I dislike game modes where when the opponent has a bad opening hand or a bad start, they forfeit. Oh, look, I'm losing a little bit. Why not just go to the next game? There's no downside to quitting. You know, I don't like that. I like ranked because it forces the opponent to weather the storm when I'm having fun. It forces the opponent to play through the game when I'm having a good time. Because very often what happens in standard modes that have no ranked is you get a really cool opener, they just quit. What? They just go next game. You know? Aggro doesn't draw 1 drop, they quit. What? You're playing aggro, you play 1 mana 1/1, and then on mana 2 you play 2 1-mana 1/1s. They quit. Next game. You know? That's boring for me. I want to hold people hostage with my Karma deck and make them suffer. I like to do Will and Nation on mana 6, recall 20 mana worth of units, and then guess what? They got to stick around because they still have hope they're going to win. That's right. And if I can't have that, I can't have fun. If ranked is gone, I'm not playing PvP. I don't play PvP games that have, like in card games specifically. Ranked, standard, and eternal will continue. Okay, never mind. Okay. All right, listen, never mind. It's all good, chat. Never mind. All right, let's continue. Guys. Ranked, standard, and eternal will continue. But in a different structure than today that we'll be figuring out soon. All right, that's twice they've said, figure out. They're not sure yet. Chat, relax. I'm going to LA to talk to the devs in 5 days. I'll fix it. Chat. I'll sit them all down. and I'll fix it. Like I said, and if I can't fix it with the devs, I'll talk to the Riot CEO, and I'll make him an offer he cannot refuse. Listen, chat, it's all good. We'll save LoR. Why do you think I'm going to LA in 5 days, bro? I'm there to fix the world. All right. Let's go on. In a different structure than today, we'll figure it out soon. With the sweeping changes to Riot and LoR, it will take us some time to figure out, oh boy, they're figuring stuff out. All right. What we can do with these formats, and we'll update you when we have more solid plans. Do you guys know if the CEO of Riot has a horse? No, never mind. Okay. We will have a world championship in 2024. Oh, will we have? Of course not. I was like, what the hell? How? Bro, that threw me off. Will we have? Will we have one? All right, never mind. Unfortunately, no. Of course not. Our change in focus means that there will be no World Championship in 2024. We're incredibly honored and proud to have made a game amazing enough to have supported having not just one, not two, but three. They changed it. When this originally launched, it was not one, but two. No. They added but three, chat. They added it. They edited it. It's all good. They changed it. World champions. And the impact these tournaments, competitors, and memories have had on us is immeasurable. I mean, chat. Did Alan really win a world championship, or did he get super lucky with one little, what do you call it? What was the, what? Like, he got so lucky, bro, in that last game. Bruh. Like, that was a lost game, and he prayed to RNGesus, and he got that, the flash bomb, bro. What was that flash bomb? Bruh. He paid someone. That was like, I honestly think Riot had to ask him right there and then pause, open task manager. I'm not even kidding. I really think they had to pause the tournament in that spot and say, no offense, but can you please open your task manager so we can have a look? Something was wrong there. So I'm not surprised they didn't add him originally to the list of world champions. I'm a creator. I am. Yep, member who runs community. Oh, I don't. What happened to those events? While we won't be able to directly support a lot of these events moving forward, we're looking forward to supporting our broader community with self-run tournament kits. Okay. In the future. We understand the impact that the adjustment will have on many of our creators whose main content is PvP focused. You are an important part of the community, and we hope you join us in the path of champions, and we'll be able to work together. Yeah. What about projects in the works, like the Community Card Kitchen card and the World Championship prizing? As promised, we're still working with Talpinator and Shenia to develop a card for the game. Their victories were a massive accomplishment, and we want to ensure we deliver the reward for their Community Card Kitchen. That card is also on its way. We appreciate how many of you joined us in the process of designing. What's happening to the LoR Invitational, the mystery event? Are you canceling? No, don't you dare, bro. Bro, I have plans for the mystery event. My main plan is to eat as much fast food as possible, but that's besides the point. Let's continue. It's still going to happen, and we're making some adjustments with the recent events here at Riot in mind. Our community has always been one of the best parts of LoR, and the Invitational is a celebration of the community. We also look forward to speaking with the competitive players to see how we best support them, even with the focus on PvE. But I'm not... Wait, they're not going to speak to... It doesn't matter. Why don't you just sell things people want? We put out a fair wide range of content. Boards, champs, skins, guardians, emotes, card packs, prismatic card styles, because our card monetization thesis was to let people earn their card collection and pay for cosmetics. I think they made it too easy to earn, but that's besides the point. But sales for cosmetics have proven deeply inadequate, often costing us more to make than they earn for us. We know there are a lot of things that players and we wanted, like animated cards and more impressive card borders, that we haven't been able to introduce, but due to major technical limitations and the high cost it would have taken to make those cosmetics, based on our explorations and prototypes, we ultimately couldn't make them happen. Lastly, even if we were able to find ways to comfortably produce these new cosmetics, the delta between what they'd be projected to make and what would be needed to sustain PvP is just too large to realistically expect from the players. I mean, that's fair. There is some design problem they have with the engine. That's not the first time we hear about this. And it's just too expensive to make them, and they're not making their money back when making them. Why don't you pull back on the generosity and make some money from cards? there's definitely been many conversations on how we can make this happen. But at the end of the day, there is no plausible approach we could take that would come close to matching the development costs it takes to produce PvP sets we currently make, without essentially becoming a traditional CCG business model. Because we believe so strongly in the original promise we've made to players, we think that moving forward with the Path of Champions as our primary focus allows for a much more sustainable model to continue making Legends of Runeterra while still staying true to our beliefs and values. This is really hard to do. You don't suddenly shift your entire, it's very hard to do. You can't just do this. Because usually when you make a card game, you start off with the monetization model a lot of the time. And then design on top of that. So that is very hard to do. To incorporate it. It's not happening. I kind of wish it had some elements of this, but hey, I've always wished that. Does this mean the game will be monetized more moving forward? To be frank, yes. Our team is very openly smaller now. And we'll have more packages and monetization options for Path of Champions on many different levels. We want the game to grow and to do even more cool things with the Legends of Runeterra, but we will need to be self-sufficient to be able to responsibly pay for those cool things. While we'll be listening intently to player feedback on these things go live, these new approaches will be designed to create sustainability for LoR in mind. Why don't you release in China? LoR is the only Riot game not in China. We've definitely talked about being in China, and it's actually something we spent considerable effort on trying to make work after launch. Ultimately, many circumstances have meant we couldn't make it happen. It has been an ever-present topic of discussion on LoR and Riot. A major issue is that it's not just a matter of taking our current version of the game and submitting it to Chinese agencies for approval and for a gaming license. A substantial amount of work has to go into making changes. We couldn't afford to pause making the game for months to do so. Ultimately, because restarting the effort carried a significant degree of uncertainty, we chose to focus on opportunities that had more concrete impact to current players. Bro, you know what I would do? I would release LoR to China with CCG mechanics. I would rebuild the game. Honestly. I think it would be profitable. I would redesign the entire model and use China as a testing ground. They already have all the card assets. They already have all the art. They have all the mechanics. They have all the design. Everything's already built. I would just consider it a fresh launch of a new game. Honestly, that's what I would do. And if China I think it would be profitable. Because when you think about it, all the expensive stuff is done for LoR. All the millions they've put into it, into designing and developing the game is finished. Yeah, of course we need to censor, there is more work to do. I don't disagree with you. There is more work to do. But the majority is done. I think it would be profitable if they released it with a CCG monetization system. I think they would make profit. It might not be popular in China. You think so? Is League not popular in China? Why don't you release a draft mode? They had one originally. It was kind of drafty. It was called Expeditions. Nobody played it. As heard in the previous dev update, we've spent time working on a prototype of a draft mode and found something that we think is fun to play and could be a good blend of satisfying to players and helpful to the business. Never say never, but it's not something we're currently devoted resources to. More testing is required and also takes significant time and effort to bring something from prototype to shippable, and we haven't been able to do that alongside supporting card sets, other features, competitive, and Path of Champions. So it's like when somebody asked me in real life, hey GrappLr, can you do this real quick for me? I'm like, I'll think about it. Hey GrappLr, do you want to go there later today? I'll think about it. It's one of those I'll think about it. Probably not, but hey, never say never. If the stars align. Why hasn't Riot leadership helped LoR succeed? Riot leadership has been involved in and very supportive of LoR all along. That's true, dude. I don't think that's fair to say. They've basically subsidized the entire game forever and are very proud of our critical acclaim and dedicated player community. Behind the scenes, they've been subsidizing LoR from other Riot games in order to give us a long runway to try and find the right business model to become sustainable. They've also helped us manage multiple shifts in our focus. All of this prior to making the sensible call to better match the team's size and investment level to the realistic business provided by our player base. Even now, they continue to support the champ. What's wrong with me, chat? Even now, they continue to support and champion LoR by committing to keeping the game going in a smarter, more sustainable way. I don't disagree with that. Why is Riot investing in other unreleased games and not LoR? I think that's a silly question. Just because LoR is a thing doesn't mean other games are not a thing. They're not connected. There's a bit of a double-edged sword here. Being a live game, LoR has a dedicated player base that we know is passionate and engaged, but also LoR is not performing as a sustainable business. It's right for right to keep other irons in the fire, obviously. Unreleased games still in R&D have a bit more unknowns attached to them. We don't know the audience appetite. We don't know the real-world outcomes of their proposed businesses. So balancing investment across our portfolio, matching LoR's investment to a realistic view of its potential business is the reason. Yeah, it's a non-question. Why doesn't Riot advertise LoR? Our core focus has been on maintaining and retaining the amazing player community of LoR. To that end, the marketing community teams partnered up and worked together to focus on our spoiler seasons, new expansion campaigns, music releases, YouTube Shorts, as well as supporting social channels across a wide variety of regions on Facebook, Instagram, and X. Let's get granular. This is called mid-funnel marketing and tends to have a higher return on investment. This is true. Broader top-of-funnel or awareness marketing requires a great deal of investment to show a return inside of the game. High-end CG trailers with appropriate media boosting could run into millions of dollars in costs, even with strong audience targeting. We saw this lack of return time and time again over the course of LoR's first year. Ensuring the community and lapsed LoR players felt supported and able to celebrate set launches via set content repeatedly provided a stronger return on our efforts and investments. Going forward, be looking for LoR to take more advantage of the wider league ecosystem, including such possibilities as client placement in League, as well as co-promotion across other Riot and League studio channels. I know a lot of people have asked for this. I think it would be a good thing, of course, but it doesn't solve their major issue, which is non-profitability. I think putting in the League client would have never made it profitable. I didn't used to necessarily think this, but recently I do. I'll tell you why once we get to... Actually, I can tell you why now. It's because of this. Can't share exact financial details, but at a high level of each year... At a high level, each year LoR has cost multiple times what it generated in revenue. When we've invested more in a range of different marketing tactics and cosmetic developments, we just ended up widening the gap. Further cost and earnings. Like, that's a pretty big problem, right? I don't think adding it to the League client will make it profitable. It won't. It would like probably increase profitability. But you also have to realize something as well, chat. Riot as a business, think of the following. Okay, let's say they put LoR onto the main League page, the main League client, they put it everywhere. And let's say it actually had a big impact of how many people started playing LoR. Why would Riot want people who are playing TFT, Valorant, and League to stop playing those games where they spend money and start playing LoR where they don't spend money? It's one thing to advertise LoR on someone else's game, right? It's one thing to advertise LoR on Facebook. But why would they literally advertise LoR to the very people who are giving them money for other games who would probably give them less money on LoR in the first place? Why would they want to pull viewers from those games to LoR? What do they gain? Anything? They might do it once in a while, but I mean, it's a distinct disadvantage. Like, if it doesn't work, they're putting it there for no reason and taking up space on their client for no reason. If it works, are they even happy that it's working? They would probably do it if they figured out a way to make LoR profitable. If they found a way to monetize LoR where they started making massive money on LoR, like, guys, I know people hated on TFT for releasing eggs, but you do realize eggs is probably the reason TFT blew up in terms of how much money they're giving TFT. They added one thing called a HEG, a gotcha box, and that's it. All of a sudden, TFT skyrocketed in profitability. Why? Because there's people out there who's like, oh, Gamba? $5,000 in eggs. Let me just open the eggs because it feels good to open them. That's crazy. But there's people like that. There is no equivalent to that in LoR. It doesn't exist. You know, there's people like... There are people out there, and this is a degenerate behavior, but they go to bed, and this is what their arm is doing in bed. They're just pulling the slot machine, bro. They're like that's what they do. There's people out there who live to gamble. That's the one thing that makes them happy in life. And if you give them gambling mechanics, they're just gonna play. Okay, that hand motion was wrong. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. All right. Why wasn't it before? I heard LoR is joining League Studios. Why wasn't it before? And what does this mean? League Studios is a fairly recent organizational change at Riot. It's not intended to be a grouping of every game that uses or will use the Runeterra IP, but instead of a way to help games with significant overlap work together better. For example, League TFT share a client and code base with a lot of players spending some time in both games. League and Wild Rift don't share code, but are very much the same overall core experience. What does it mean? By having LoR join League Studios, the game will be much better integrated into overall scope and plan of the League ecosystem, such as events, champion design, insights, release cadence, and the like. There's also some synergistic benefits between the games sharing resources and eliminating duplicate elements. We can have a single release manager for all of the mobile titles, for example. This helps save LoR resources that can be used to make actual game stuff for players instead. When the games run in different parts of the organization, things can get bogged down for a number of unnecessary corporate reasons that this new structure could help reduce, resulting in richer and complementary game experiences for players. We have seen success with this in the past with instances like TFT and LoR sharing some of the same art to bring Remix Rumble to life, or T-Hex across games. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. If there's going to be an event, you can use same art across multiple games, and then all of a sudden, all 3 games gain benefit for one expense, right? Why isn't LoR in the League client? Good news, we're targeting to start promoting Legends of Runeterra in the League client as early as sometime in February, and periodically thereafter. So this makes sense, periodically, sure. You mentioned the roadmap. When can we see that? To be frank, we're ironing out the exact timelines, but we'll be in the process together. What you see in the video makes up some of our immediate goals and upcoming releases from experiments run last year. As we release Constellations and Freljord, the result and player feedback to those systems will help us further galvanize our roadmap. However, as we lock things in, we'll be sure to keep you in the know. What's happening to patch notes, articles, and streams? We're still figuring that out, and we want to do that along with you. Okay? We're taking this opportunity to look at all the ways we communicate and engage and figure out where we can meet you all in the upcoming months. For example, while packed full of content, our live streams were focused around live balance. And our articles and streams did focus on path, did not see high engagement numbers, which is how we evaluate a tactic is successful or not. Well, obviously, because nobody really cares about balance and path. It doesn't need to be balanced. It's supposed to be unbalanced. These past few years, we've shown up a lot on Reddit and Twitch, which appears to be helpful, but not necessarily a scalable way to reach the broader LoR audience with meaningful, deep content. But to assuage any fears, is that a word? Assuage any fears. To assuage any fears, patch notes will still be around. We need to hone in on what's the best way to get information to all of you and the cadence of our patch notes moving forward. We've welcomed your feedback on what you all think works best. Why don't you just kill LoR? Chat, who was it? Who was it, chat? Who asked that question? It was you, Carsonator? I see. We love LoR. We've taken a few big swings at plans to make the game more sustainable from a business perspective by growing the player base, but that didn't work, or we found the work required was substantially beyond what the existing team could deliver. So now, the plan is to match the team size and investment in sustainability more closely with a dedicated player base we're so fortunate to have built over the past several years. Last but not least, we got a few Reddit comments we can go through. Not getting too stuck on what we could have done differently in hindsight. Hurts to read. We've been asking for marketing boosts like this for years, and such a bittersweet feeling seeing them finally being attempted at the precise moment of the game is massively downsized and likely headed towards a death of sorts. I think it's a very fair call out past missed opportunities, and certainly want to acknowledge there are some things we do differently, if doing it at all, again, from the start. The thing I want to avoid is getting stuck in the mindset of we didn't do things in the perfect time. It's insulting to dismiss this as we didn't do things in the perfect time when the articles, information we've gotten have consistently been presented as we have given LoR our best effort. Yeah, I mean, look, I used to agree with that take that LoR is messing up because if they put in the League client, if they advertised more, if they got a bigger player base, that would mean more skins sold and maybe break even. I never thought LoR was going to be super profitable ever, but I was hoping it would get to a break even point. The biggest problem is, and I'm going to put it again, here's the biggest problem. Like, I didn't know this. can't share exact financial details, but at a high level, each year, LoR has cost multiple times what it generates. And when they invested in a range of differing marketing tactics, it just widened the gap between cost and earnings. So that means not only is it unprofitable, it's in multiples, like multiple times more in the red than it is in the green. Like if it makes $1 million a year, it's costing $6 million. Like that's crazy. And marketing just makes it worse. I didn't know it was that bad. If it's really that bad, which it seems to be, the problem isn't advertisement. But putting LoR into the league client is not going to increase profits by, 5,000%. It's not going to happen. Marketing does cost money, and I imagine the return on investment for marketing wasn't great. No. It was negative. That's the biggest issue you got to deal with. Man, what would I do? All right, what would I do if I was Riot CEO? Let's see. GrappLr, CEO of Riot. What would I do? I would do exactly what they're doing now, honestly. I mean, from a business perspective, I would do exactly what they're doing now. I wouldn't change anything. What are you going to do? All right, let me put a different question. GrappLr, given CEO powers over LoR for the next 24 hours, and any decisions I make have to be respected. Well, at that point, I would say, hey, listen, keep giving massive funding to LoR and forget about profits. It's going to be red forever. Doesn't matter. Keep making a fun game. Subsidize it. Too bad. That's what I would do, of course. I would just tell them, keep throwing money at it. What are you going to do? I like the game, bro. Keep the negative profits. Too bad. I like the game. Save it. So if I had 24 hours to make changes, that's what I would do. All right? Now, if I was CEO of Riot and my goal was to make LoR massively profitable within the next few years in terms of PvP, and if I didn't manage that within 3 years, they tell me the game is dead. And my incentive was not to let the game die and to make it a PvP game. Honestly, and they will never do this, what I would do is I would relaunch LoR with a card booster revenue system. I would relaunch it. That's what I would do. It is what it is. Card packs, yeah? I would do card packs. And I would relaunch it at 0. And I would relaunch it, at least in some way, to give people who had a big collection something. I don't know. LoR 2, 10x the cost to the customers. You're right. That's never going to happen. Of course not. It was literally the one thing they didn't want to do. I know. But and it's not only they didn't want to do it, I would never do it. I had to think of a very specific niche scenario where I was CEO with very specific motivations. What they're doing now is the right call, in my opinion, from a business perspective. I'm not even saying they should do that. They're not going to do it. They don't want to become pay to win. It's not a marketing problem. I think on their end, they underestimate how unprofitable card games are unless you actually sell cards. Yep, unfortunately. Yo, Blade Dancer, think of it at 32 months. I underestimated it. I knew they were negative and not making profit. I thought like, well, maybe they make 10 million a year and it cost them 13, 14 million a year. Maybe they're like something like, maybe some adjustments can get it closer break even, bro. I was not aware that if they make 10 million, it's costing them 50. I was not aware it was that bad. Because in multiple places, they said it costs many, many multiples of what they rake in. That's crazy. That's ridiculously bad. Wait a second. They didn't want pay to win as a core value? I mean, guys, you could always buy cards in LoR. Always. The option is right there. You can buy wild cards. It's not that they're against pay to win. It's that they're against hard pay to win. They're fine with soft pay to win. They're fine with small pay-to-win advantages in card games because they've already done it. It was their day one. Yeah, I bought wildcards at launch. So that's they just don't want the game to be entirely pay-to-win. But I think they're too far at one extreme. All right. I mean, what's going to happen now? Here's the thing, chat. This is what's going to happen. Less PvP fun, less PvP expansions, less things to be excited about in PvP. They're going to make a lot of changes to try to become more profitable. Best case scenario, they become a profitable game somehow. And they find a way to take the lessons they learned in making POC profitable and apply them to PvP profitability. That's the best case scenario. How they'll do that, I have no idea. They're obviously going to start adding a lot of stuff to POC store. And if any of it like sells really, really well, maybe there's a way to integrate it into PvP cards. Sad news, man. Overall, bad news for us PvP lovers. You don't have hope, man. Might as well just re-download MTG Arena. A lot of people are going to feel like that. Okay, there's this thing. Nobody wants to play a dead game. That is true. And for that reason, few people want to play a dying game. And if people feel like the game is dying, that's bad because people just start leaving. And then it starts dying faster and more people leave. And it starts dying even faster and more people leave. Do you know why MMOs don't tell people how many players they have and how many subs they have? Do you know why Blizzard stopped giving out active sub numbers? They stopped giving those out the moment sub numbers started going down. Because people are like, oh my God, World of Warcraft just lost 10% of the player base. The game is dying. Why do I want to play a dying game? So another 10% leave. And now it's, oh my God, we just lost 20% of our player base. It's dying even faster and more people leave. And people just start diving. So as a company, you never, like a live service game where people play PvP, you never want to let people know a game is dying because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more people find out it's dying, the more people leave. The faster it dies, the more people leave. Now that we know about the true state of the lore, what's the plan, Mr. Streamer? Bruh, I mean, I have a plan. My plan is I'm going to be going to Los Angeles I'm leaving for my plane trip in less than 4 days from now. So I'm going to LA. I'm going to meet the devs. I'm going to talk to the devs. I'm going to talk to Snnuy. I'm going to hang out with a few of the viewers. And I'll take my time to think. I wish it wasn't the case. I really do. I wish it wasn't the case. But in order to change content, it can be extremely financially difficult. I'm going to need a lot of Prime subs, chat. I'm going to need a lot of subs. I'm going to need a lot of bits. I'm going to need a lot of support because looking at this, bro, this is entry level, chat. This is entry level. Mid-tier, we're talking 14K, brother. I can't afford these prices, chat. 24K for a flagship. Do they have payment plans? Do they have payment plans for these? All right. Let's focus. We're gonna be strong. Just transition to hot tub streams? Yeah, well, yeah. Listen, I'm gonna be honest, guys. I mean, I'm always honest with you guys almost, but I have always known that there was always a good chance lore would go downhill and I'd play other stuff. And I love not having to work. I love being able to not have to worry about money. So I have always thought about contingency plans. I have always thought about what I would do. I have always considered things. I have done experiments myself. I have done the math. I for example, tried 2 months of TFT just to understand what it's like to play a different game. I really, really well understand how this can impact streaming and YouTube specifically. I learned a lot. For example, the 2 months we did pure TFT, I learned a hell of a lot about what it means to do content on your non-main game. And I know you've seen me for the last couple of months do a lot of like side videos on different games. I've done some variety here and there as well. So I have an intuitive understanding of what needs to be done if I want to continue streaming for a long time. So, what's in the future for us? All right, here's what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen in the next 4 or 5 days for streaming before I go to LA. But in general, I will play whatever game is most fun to play. I know that's not an answer. I know that's not a committal answer, but that's what I've always done. I don't care if you guys believe me or not, but to this day, LoR has been the game I've mostly wanted to stream. You're just telling us you have to figure it out. Yeah, I do have to figure it out. But I'm going to probably do what I've always done. I'll stream whatever game I'm enjoying streaming the most. And I know it sounds like a cop-out, but LoR has always been the game I've most enjoyed streaming. I promise you, if there was a game I enjoyed streaming more than LoR, I wouldn't have been streaming LoR. I really wouldn't have. You guys remember when I had more fun streaming TFT? I did 2 months of TFT. Do you know how much money I lost streaming TFT? A lot. It doesn't matter. I had more fun with TFT. I found the Poro King, Nila, whatever expansion boring. I just didn't play it. I mean, I've made a lot of financially stupid decisions when it comes to streaming in general. For the sake of, I don't want to turn streaming into a job. In my mental state, I don't want to consider doing stuff for money when it's going to make me resent streaming, and I'll stick to that as long as I can. I never want to change my mindset on streaming. How do I explain this? Do you know how people attach negative emotions to things that happen, and then it's very hard to get rid of those? For example, somebody can, like, let's say a kid loves playing a sport. They love playing soccer, and then one day their dad finds out, oh, you're really good at soccer. Let's push you to be better at soccer. And then they go to a match and the kid messes up and the father shouts at him and says, you suck. I thought you were better than this. And all of a sudden, the kid doesn't like soccer anymore. Doesn't want to play it. Used to love it. But all of a sudden now, there were some negative things attached to it. And it's like, yeah, I hate soccer. That can happen with streaming if I allow it to. Like if I start looking at streaming through a lens of what is the most profitable way I can stream, not trauma necessarily in my case, but I can start resenting waking up in the morning and clicking go live if I allow myself to do it enough times where I'm unhappy doing it. You tilt every stream. That's different from having a bad time. And I do it in a fun way, right? So that has been my mental health choice since I started. I'm not going to allow myself to turn streaming into something I dislike doing for short-term gain. Now, it's different if I was offered some, like if somebody said, hey, listen, GrappLr, we want you to be a streamer for our game and the game sucks, and we want you to stream it for the next 2 years, we'll give you $20 million. I mean, you know what? At a certain point, you're like, yeah, sure. I'll suffer for 2 years to never have to worry about money again. Of course, I mean, you have to be realistic, but unless it's some kind of really stupid amount of money that is life-changing, no, I'm going to do this because I like doing this. So yeah, if you ask me what I'm going to do, I'm not going to play any games I don't like playing. I'm not going to do anything I don't like doing. If it turns out that because of that choice, my stream dies, and let's say I start getting 0 viewership, I'll keep streaming, and I'll find something to make money with. I've been fine before, I'll be fine again. I have skill sets, I can always make money. So if my stream went down to like 15 viewers and all of a sudden it wasn't sustaining my expenses, so be it, right? I'll still stream because I like streaming. There's a lot of things you can do in life that make a lot of money. If I wanted to make, like, if somebody told me, listen, you have 5 years to make $5 million or you die, I'd quit streaming tomorrow. Like, there's better stuff you can do for money. Don't leave LoR. Well, what if LoR leaves me? Can you TLDR the channel update for me? There is no update at the moment. I'm not making any decisions. I want to go to LA first. It's going to be a mind-clearing thing. I get to talk to the devs firsthand. I love Riot as a company. I think it's a great company. Who knows? Maybe I go there and make some contacts. Maybe they can give me some advice as well. I can tell them, hey, you know, who knows, man? It's a great opportunity to go to LA and talk to people who work at Riot. I've never had a conversation with somebody who worked at Riot in real life. IRL conversations are different from like getting an email. Riot sucks, you're wrong. And as for the next few days, I really don't know what I'm going to stream for the next 2, 3 days, 4 days. Because we only have today and 3 more streams before I go. I might at random parts of the day, just launch my phone to stream a little bit, just to say, hey, what's up, chat? I'm here at the moment. I might do like, would you guys want that? Like for me to randomly pop off a 15-minute stream, just to give you like live updates when I'm at like, that could be fun. Like, because you guys have, if you're in my Discord, I have live notifications for whenever I go live. So if you join the Discord, you just have to click the role for Twitch alert, and it gives you a notification I went live. So I might consider doing that, just a little bit. What will you be doing, LA? Like, are you gonna 1v1 with creators? Yeah, I'm gonna do a boxing match with Snnuy. We might arm wrestle. Like Snnuy said he wants to arm wrestle me. I don't know why, but I'm down. I'm down to arm wrestle if Snnuy wants to. I don't know. People told me he said he wanted to arm wrestle me. So okay, all right. We'll do that. We'll do that for content. But other than that, he's got the sleeper build, baby. Snnuyy's not a small guy. Like, I always thought Snnuy was like 5'6". I thought he was a short dude, but he's pretty tall. Snnuyy's 6 feet tall, chat. Did you know that? Snnuyy's 6 foot. He's a big kid. He's not even a kid. He's a grown man, but yeah, he's a big guy. He's 6 feet tall, chat. I thought it was like 5'6". I thought it was like, hey, what's up, buddy? And like just like pat him on the head. No, it's not the case.